Okay. We've been advised to give a prayer. Would you mind giving us a prayer?
Yeah. Well, Father in heaven, we're grateful for this day. We're grateful for this chance that we have to meet and to discuss the different aspects of this class and the case study. And we pray and ask that thy spirit be with us. Help us to learn and grow and help us to understand the things that we need to understand so that we can further our mind and knowledge and that we can do all that we can. Father, we love thee and we're grateful for thee and pray and ask that thou watch over our loved ones to help him also. And we say these things in the name of thy son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Yeah. All right, Keith, thank you. All right, so I'm just gonna roll with what has been, they're asking us, where is it? No, not that one. Not that one. Where is it?
The case study activity, the questions.
Yeah, so the questions are like, so with all of this that they've been asking us, so like yesterday, it took us about 30 minutes to do these they don't want it more than an hour, so we'll try to keep it definitely under an hour because I got another one right after this. So
yeah.
For another so what do you think? What do you think is the issue here? I mean, with both this with Mary Griffin at Dairy Foods.
Yeah, so I think, well, and I'm not sure. I posted a little bit, but I'm not sure if you saw it. But I think there's two issues here. One of them, I think that what's his name, York, if I remember correctly. Yeah, York. I think he does have some lacking in the leadership skills area. He seems to do things publicly and not in the correct manner. Like that internal meeting had. Like, I don't think it's right to kind of threaten. He almost made it sound like he was threatening somebody's job, kind of a deal. And I'm not too fond of that. But with Shelbourne, when he approached Griffin or Griffith, however you say it, I wonder if there's a little frustration or animosity towards York because he was given the promotion. I wonder if there, and so because I felt like he really came out and just started attacking Shelbourne, not in a very, very good manner. And so I wonder if he's just a little bit frustrated that maybe that was his position, or or maybe he thought York wasn't supposed to have that position and somebody else was. So anytime now that York messes up or does something that might not have been in the best way, now he's going to attack it and do everything he can to go against York and make him look bad.
So that's an interesting perspective. I didn't think about how Shelbourne could have been, might have been gunning York for his, the possibility of taking those positions. So, do you think that? I mean, what do you think though? Why do you think that York might have been so, I guess, abrasive in with the production team and also with his own team in front of when they were doing that presentation?
That's a good question. So I think he probably thought it was kind of like he was like saying a joke. He probably thought blowing it off like it was kind of funny. I definitely think that he was embarrassed and he didn't understand how to cope with that. And so he tried to make a joke of that situation, and the joke was probably just inappropriate and not necessary. He really could have just said, hey, here's a mistake. That internal meeting is probably meant to find any kind of mistake and to make sure they were all on the same page before they presented it to the X Games committee. But he could have said, hey, that's a mistake. It's fine. A mistake's a mistake. We caught it before our presentation, written it down, gone back to his team and said, hey, look, here's the mistake. Let's just fix this really quick and it'll be fine. And from the reading, it sounded like a pretty minor mistake, not too big of a deal. So I just think he probably, not to just throw it under the rug, but just, hey, guys, let's get this fixed. Keep going on with the meeting. Call it good.
So you think you probably would say go by the philosophy, praise in public, reprimand in silence, meaning take them aside and reprimand them if they have to be?
Yeah, I don't think making a public figure of people comes off good usually. I
Mm-hmm.
think it kind of makes people more abrasive, kind of frustrates people, makes them not know exactly how to respond.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think it just like I think even the reading said that people put their heads down, they felt a little uncomfortable. I mean, it is
Mm-hmm.
kind of uncomfortable when you're in a public setting and somebody's kind of putting you down a little bit, kind of deal.
Okay. So, so I'm just gonna go over some more quick. Hold on.
Yeah.
Okay. So why do you think that why is this becoming a concern? Why do you think one? It sounds like there's two occurrences here, and all of a sudden Mary has been asked by Shelburne to go ahead and take care of it. Why do you think that? What could have been? Why do you think Shelburne addressed this? Besides what you stated, you might have been offended, but is there another reason maybe?
Yeah, so I think so I think that so some people mess up the first time. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
something happens, and I made a oopsie. Okay, I get that, but
Mm-hmm.
now this seems to possibly be a reoccurring factor
Mm-hmm.
that he's not leading the group in the correct manner, and I think what he's doing is with his group or his team, he's setting their standards, setting their goals, and they're his goals and standards, and he
Mm-hmm.
wants them to achieve it when and how he wants it. And so I think his leadership skills aren't as good as what they should be. He needs to go to his team and take the approach of, okay, this is our end goal. This is what our company needs to do for X Games.
Mm-hmm.
How do we get there? Okay, person A, all right, that's awesome. That's a great idea. Let's expound on that. Okay, what's your goal for that? When can you do this? Things like that. But let the people work themselves instead of him trying to work them. And I think it's evident that he's doing that. And now this is kind of like the second situation that comes up. So Griffin needs to now step in, help him understand the way he needs to direct his team
Mm-hmm.
and go in that direction, but also make sure he's doing it. I don't know if the best way to say is like a team building way, not just forcing people, hey, do this, but let them build themselves and um, let them build a company also.
Skylar, yesterday in our conversation, he put out a really good point. Maybe one of the reasons why he's a new guy and he's trying to make a mark, and I think well, I think he's trying to impress. But I think he puts a lot of pressure on himself because he is a perfectionist. I mean, he brought out because if you read in the discussion in the case study, it talks about him having uh, um, having a good rapport with other people, like his predecessors, his brand managers that were before, and he actually challenged them to expand. So he wasn't like being inconsiderate of them. So now that he's put into it, maybe it's the fact that he had, he's now wants to prove himself as that new leader, or he might have, as they say, sometimes power corrupts, and so
Yeah, yeah, I think you're onto something. One thing though that I was kind of thinking about in this situation, a few times it talks about how he is really good at innovating his brand. He's
mm-hmm,
done a great job to take it from where it was to where it is now. So
mm-hmm,
I think Griffin needs to help him understand that, when she's talking to him, hey, we think you do a great job
mm-hmm,
at branding.
mm-hmm,
And so I think she needs to make sure she separates branding from his leadership
mm-hmm.
and just make sure it's evident. And she can use that as, hey, you do a great job. That's why we like you in this position. We just want to refine some of your other skills.
Good point. So it did say about in the training and stuff that from the you go in and first you address what they're good at and address the situation, but not him. What's his qualities that are not the person, but the qualities. You address the qualities that he has. Don't address him as so. For instance, hey, you do a great job as a manager, as a brand. helping the brand to become good. We are finding a concern here that with the leadership skills that you're demonstrating are not in line with the company.
Yeah.
And then finish it out with another praise, and then it's called they call it the sandwich method.
Yeah.
Even the meat of this content.
Yeah.
But what's the difficulties if say if Mary doesn't address it?
Address the
The concerns that Shelburne is. Do you think she should go in and reprimand him right off the bat, or do you think she should do find out?
I think she needs to get a little bit more information.
Mm-hmm.
Sit in a couple more meetings, pull those people aside that were in that meeting that felt uncomfortable that he was kind of reprimanding,
Mm-hmm.
and talk to him for a few minutes. Say, hey, can I just get your thoughts? Can I get what you felt? That way she has a little more information. And like how they're reading, it talks about being direct.
Mm-hmm.
I think if she can get a little bit more information, she can be much more direct, and then also show how it's affecting his team. And
Mm-hmm.
at that point, she can go down the list. Okay, this person, this person, this person, this is what they felt. This is the concern. Kind of bundle that all in one and say, okay, look, this is how your team feels about the way you are managing them now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they do just need. I think she does need just a little bit more to hold on to. There's a little bit better foundation to go off.
So in here, it talks about what do you think are the guiding principles? Do you feel like if the principles are clearly spelled out for Simon, he might be able to, maybe you can, what's the word I want to say? You can address the principles to his what do you call it, his outbursts or whatever, and so if his principles are not in line, his principles and the company's principles are not in line, then you can address it in that way. So he's not being personally attacked. He's like, you need to keep it in line with the principles of the company.
Yeah, I think kind of like what you're talking about is within that area. She needs to make sure she uses the culture of the company. They want him to develop the culture of the company in his leading abilities.
Mm.
And kind of I think maybe kind of go along with that, and that might be I'd hate to say the best way, but it might be the best way to do it, just to put it on the culture of the company. Say this is what we expect. This is how our company's ran. This is how we've seen success in our company.
So do you think that maybe one of the reasons why he is not why he did the outburst, he might not have known. He might not know exactly what the expectations, the principles, the guiding principles of the company are. I mean,
yes. So I think it said this is a recent position, right? Like it hasn't been too terribly long. It really can just be the learning curve. Maybe at one point in time, say he worked for some other company, like, look, we're pretty aggressive, and we like to let people know publicly or however this is what you did wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's the culture he grew up on. Maybe that's how his parents raised him, or whatever the situation is. So maybe it all stems back to, say, Shelburne or say Griffin gave him the position and just said, okay, go do your thing, and never really explained what they expected. I know I've done that a couple times, like in hiring drivers and stuff like that for our company, and then it comes back to bite me in the butt because I'm like, oh man, I should have explained this a little bit better so that they know what I expect from them.
So do you feel, excuse me.
Yeah.
So in some respects, if she humbles herself and looks inwards and say, hey, did I do everything right? That might help to avoid, making Simon feel attacked. Saying, hey, I want to take some responsibility because maybe I did not teach you all the principles to which this company runs itself by. But I need you to know by going into this conversation, henceforth you're going to abide by this.
Yeah, I definitely think she can go back. Maybe she has a list of things, a list of bullet points that she's supposed to hit every time she gives a promotion or a new hiring. Go back and say, okay, did I actually go over this?
Mm-hmm.
If so, whatever the case may be, she can bring it to him and say, look, I feel like maybe I didn't explain this well, or hey, it's on me. I forgot to go over this with you. I forgot to share this with you. I really think she could. I think that'd be a great way to alleviate this situation, because I don't think at the end of the day, I don't think York is doing it out of spite to be mean or anything like that. I really just think he's like, well, this is how I normally do it, kind of a deal.
That was the same sentiment that Skylar was saying yesterday too. So it's like the three of us are all thinking about the same way, that even though Simon is out of line, that is true. But however, before we go in with our guns blazing, maybe we need to do some find out and everything.
Right. That's kind of how I think. Yeah.
So yesterday I was explaining to Skylar. I mean, I started my mission almost I don't know how long, in year 2000, so it's 18 years ago. I don't know when you served, but back when I was there, we had a thing called a commitment pattern. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Yeah, I hear you on that. I know that one.
So in the commitment, it's a 4-step process. It's prepare, invite, follow up, and resolve concerns. And in this situation, I was explaining to him is that if you do the preparation right, you can get anybody to do everything. You do the proper invite and follow up.
Yeah.
And this steps, you can get anything accomplished. And so in this situation with Mary, addressing it, I think if she has that relationship building with him and does the proper find outs and really does the care that, when you're teaching an investigator, you show genuine care and love to that person. And you can start inviting them to do things because they know you're going to have their back. You're going to help that investigator to come and learn more about the gospel. And it's the same with this guy, with Griffin. And she comes in and says, I'm here to make your job successful, but I need you to, like in the gospel, we need you to stop smoking. Mm-hmm. I can't have you join the church if you can't stop smoking. Do you trust me? I mean, and that's the only hindrance. And it's like the same, but they have that trust. It's like, yeah, I'll give up smoking. Well, Simon can say, well, I can give up my yelling. I mean, you're right. It is wrong. Mm-hmm. But it takes. Oh, go ahead.
I was just say, I think you're making a good point that this could build a relationship if she does it correctly. Just come in there, let them know what's going on, be direct, and she can start to build something so that maybe in the future York's not nervous about coming in, or he's willing to accept maybe criticism's the best word, or the ways to be a better leader, learning things like that. I think it's definitely an opportunity for them to kind of come closer and to start building a relationship and be able to help each other out.
Yeah, I mean, and again, the next step, when you've done that role and you do that proper invite, I mean, will you? I mean, that's the key to it. Not can you or should you or anything. It's like, will you? It's very direct. He cannot, and the only thing he can say is yes or no.
Right.
Because at that point, he puts himself into a commitment, but he has to be totally committed. And then she needs to be willing to do a proper follow-up with him. Hey, how are you doing in this? I mean, I haven't heard anything problems, but I want to make sure you're still working on, this, because I don't want to reprimand you again.
Yeah, I like the proper follow-up. I think when you are trying to help somebody, you need to, go have the meeting, talk to them, everything like that, come up with goals, whatever's going on, but then follow up with them. Say, hey, how's this going? Have we learned what we need to learn? Have we met our goals? Have we done these things?
Yeah.
I think follow-up's big.
I mean, as you're talking to drivers, you say, okay, it's no different. It's like when you're talking, as you say, hey, you need to make this. Will you make this delivery by Friday by noon at this place? The guy says yes. Are you willing? Are you willing for me to give you a call Thursday to check up on you, just make sure you're on schedule?
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, they are totally committed to that because they know that if you follow up and you're called them on Thursday and they're supposed to be in Georgia and they're in Chicago, you're like, whoa, 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 dude. We talked about this. You can't make these side trips because you feel like you want to see your aunt.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you go back to resolving that concerns, and then you do another re-invite. But if they clearly understand the expectations and the consequences, then you can move mountains. I mean, it's a very solid gospel principle. You know, the Lord uses it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I think if I was in Mary's position, that's the approach I would go.
Yeah. I think that's a good approach. I like it.
So going over this. So how can Mary best reinforce the culture?
How can she reinforce it? Is what you're saying?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I wonder if a good way in this situation is to find an example. To find, say, we'll just say Joe Smith works for her, and he is a great example of the culture they're looking for. Because she can sit down and say, okay, in our culture, we like A, B, C, and D. This is what we want to see. I wonder if maybe for York, it's best if she finds somebody and says, look, just maybe she finds John and says, hey, I want you to mentor this guy. Or she says, hey, I want you to shadow this guy. I want you to see how he runs this. Somebody who might be a little bit influential in the company, so he sees, okay, all right, this is how they want it, and it's working. It works for their company.
So do you think that also maybe another way to reinforce is just, I mean, maybe she's not good. I mean, with my managers, I meet with them basically weekly, some every other week. And when I talk to them, I discuss, hey, go back over what we discussed. There was a commitment on each meeting. Now I'm coming back and just reinforcing what we talked about and making sure you did that. Maybe it's just going back and just like, for the time being, let's work on your development of leadership, and at this place we do democratic, or we do, autocratic, or we use all those. I can't think of all of the ones that were, but different kinds of leadership. And maybe he thinks it's a dictatorship. Maybe he's thinking, hey, this is what I want to do. But in like last week's reading with what was the one?
That's Summer?
Summer, yeah, about the Brazilian.
Yeah.
He did a 180 change because he had to, because he didn't want people to feel like they were not being, he had to change.
Yeah.
Because of the way the culture was changing. I mean, I think last week is a good discussion on, he had to do what he had to do at that time. And maybe he was very aggressive, but he maybe should have, turned down the intensity a little bit earlier. But I really think what he did earlier in the first part of his career was essential to the rest of the company, because the company was floundering. Someone needs to take a hard step, role. And I think that's sort of what maybe this guy is doing. You never know. Maybe York is thinking, hey, this brand, my team is lax. I have to be hard. But now that Mary is like, you've gotten yourself in that position, now it's time to start conforming to the culture of the company.
I think you bring up a good point there. I wonder, and this all goes team by team. If maybe he needs to be a little bit more tough on his team.
Uh-huh.
And we don't have any backstory or anything further of his team, but there might be a chance that when Griffin comes to York and says, "Look, hey, this is yada yada yada. This is what we're seeing." He might have a compelling story to say, "Well, this is what I'm facing every single day. I got these guys who they come to work and they're basically there for a paycheck and they're not doing anything." Maybe that error, maybe that was kind of like the straw that broke the camel's back, where he's like, maybe he told him to fix that like 30 different times previous, and then he says, "Okay, let's make the presentation," and it's still there. So he's like, "Look, hey, what the heck? I told you guys to do this. Now we're here in this presentation, and I'm the one looking like an idiot because I'm the one standing up here doing it."
Right. See, I think we're all under agreement that Mary, before she really goes into a reprimand, really understands the full story from from York's side.
Yeah.
So I was trying to think. Okay.
Look at these.
Well, okay.
Covered a good chunk of those right there. No personal examples. I guess just one other thing that I just reading through these questions and we talked about it. Shelbourne was pretty attacking when he first came to Griffin. Hey, this is what's going on. You need to fix this, kind of a deal. And I was just thinking, it says, how should Mary Griffin respond to the situation with York? I think she definitely can't take that position. She can't come in being accusatory and attacking and say, "You fix this right now," or this or that. She needs to go back to kind of what we were talking about, really do her homework, find out the information, know what's going on, and then come in, be direct. But I don't think she needs to be as attacking as Shelbourne was, because it seems like Shelbourne was just kind of doing it out of frustration. So.
No, I agree with you on that. I mean, I think it's very key that Griffin takes a level approach to this and not let the emotions let it. I mean, Shelbourne might be right, but until she finds out, she needs to take that into, to process that all and able to be a fair leader.
Yeah.
Because if she goes in with a stern reprimand without finding out, and finds out later that she lost a lot of his trust.
Yeah, definitely. I think you're right on there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, everything. I mean, there's more questions in here, but I think all said and done, we've been hitting on most of it, like the politics and what happens. I mean, I guess one thing does happen if she doesn't fix this. Talks to him, and he goes down this path of destruction. It can be demoralizing to the whole team, the whole business, because he does cross lines, not just with sales and marketing and everything, but branding and also with production. And so she does need to address it as soon as possible, so people don't think, well, he got away with it, I can get away with it.
Yeah, I think you're right. She's got to gather up some information, maybe whatever this is, maybe it's Monday. I think by Thursday, Friday, she's got to put her foot down and say, "Okay, I'm ready to meet with you. This is what I got to do." She can't let it persist. Clearly, people are frustrated. People are uncomfortable. There seems to be some situations going on, and so I think, she's got to put an end to it.
But also another thing that she probably should do, and I just thought this, I learned this in one of my other business classes, is that what she should do is put a cap on Shelburne and saying, I will discuss this with York no later than Friday. So please, in the meantime, do not talk with other people about this. And let's keep this under wraps. And just know that I will give you a full out report by Friday afternoon.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Because right there, she's saying, I'm backing the company up, but I also don't want to destroy someone because maybe Shelburne doesn't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think you're right. I like that. That's a good idea.
Well,
yeah, it's everything.
I think so. I mean, is there any other questions I mean, the last of it is, there's anything else that needs to be, where is it? There it is. Anything else any comments, last comments, or anything you want to share, or anything like?
And I'm looking over what I posted here. I don't think so. I think we're doing pretty good there.
Cool. Well, I really appreciate you doing this, and again, I apologize. Right now, I'm going to be trying to talk with us. I can go ahead and close this part. That